It's showtime.
What's up, bro? And welcome to the Frank Harris Show, the biggest, the baddest, and the best show on earth. Also, the most provocative. And look who we got here with us today, brushing his waves. My boy, Dominican E. E, what's good, E?
What up? What up? What up? What up? Yeah, New York
Yo,
Liberty, baby. WNBA
uh,
champions, baby.
so we're gonna talk about the New York Liberty. We're gonna talk about Deshaun Watson getting booed. We're gonna talk about the Major League Baseball, Dodgers, Yankees, and talk a little NFL. But since you started with the Liberty, you started with the Liberty out the gate. Eric, can the WNBA be so dumb ultimately that they cheat blatantly for the New York Liberty? Big market team, like you talk about, but forget about big market team. Big name players, Brianna Stewart, Ionescu, two of the more popular um, um, players in the game, right? Outside of Caitlin Clark, Ionescu, Brianna Stewart, big WNBA players. Two things out the gate. It wasn't a foul, right? I mean, LeBron James commented on it, right? Damian Lillard commented on it. Everybody commented on it. Wasn't a foul, right? Brianna Stewart missed the 2 free throws before, right, to tie the game. Then you come down here, last play. First of all, it shouldn't even, the free throws are irrelevant because she walked. She traveled, like, it's clear, it's not even debatable. So even if you think the foul is debatable, she traveled unequivocally. She ran before she dribbled. Then she dribbles, incidental contact, shouldn't have been a foul. She goes, makes it 2 free throws. They lose the game in overtime. The Lynx don't have stars. No one cares about Nafisha Collier, right? McBride and all those girls. Unbelievable, Eric. I may stop watching WNBA basketball because I guess next year they're going to give it to Caitlin Clark's team if they're close. It's a joke. It's a fleece, Eric.
Frank.
Fleece job.
Slow down, Frank. Slow down. You know, NBA.
Fair. Was that fair? Was that fair?
Hold on. Listen, I'm not gonna get into whether it's fair or not. We just know in sports, superstars get preferential treatment. They get preferential treatments. LeBron gets it. Jordan used to get it. All the stars get it. So whether she walked or not, who am I to say she walked or not? They got instant replay to see if she walked or not.
Eric, that's not, no, E, stop.
Hold on.
I'm sorry to cut you off, E.
Hold on.
But you're right, E. You right. Okay, let me. But E, you right about stars getting preferential treatment, but she definitely walked.
Hold on. Like they got instant replay. They can challenge it. I don't know if she had any challenges left. Whether or not she can challenge that or not. All I know is
challenge what? What do you mean? You can't challenge the travel. You can't challenge that. You can challenge the foul, which they did challenge, by the way.
Or they challenged the foul.
Huh?
They challenged the foul and it was determined it was a foul.
Yes, they did. But Eric, she walked before the foul. But you can't challenge that. But that's indisputable walk. And by the way, that foul wasn't a foul. But that's always debatable, right? But she walked.
Okay, listen. But I'm gonna say this too, right? Whether it was a walk or not, again, we know in the NBA there's always an extra step. Players get it all the time in the NBA. We always see it in the NBA. We see it in WNBA. It's always an extra step. Players get that extra step. So whether they missed it or not, that's on the WNBA. Listen, the best team won. New York Liberty.
No, they didn't. That's a lie. That's a lie.
Go with New
That's
York,
a lie.
Baby. New York, baby.
He's lying. The guy's not telling the truth. The best team did win, Eric. Minnesota should have won that game. The foul disparity in the last game was crazy. The Fisher Collier she gets no superstar treatment. She was the best player on the court, in my opinion. Ionescu was like 1 for 19. Brianna Stewart, the best team didn't win. But listen, and by the way, the Liberty have never won a WNBA championship in their history.
Yes.
So it's great for the WNBA. It's great for New York, Eric, but it was a fleece job. And no one cares about the Minnesota Link. No one cares about Nafisha Collier and the great player she is. And I get it.
Well,
Frank,
but
the best team didn't win.
Frank, you always say that in sports there's no more big market teams. There's no more of that. So according to what you're saying, right, because New York had the stars and because New York is New York, they got the preferential treatment, and they came out to be victorious on your premises of New York is New York, and nobody cares about Minnesota, and nobody cares about the girl's name, Carly, and all those people.
Well, I was very clear. I made the statement, Eric. I was very clear to say they also have star power. Brianna Stewart and Ionescu are two of the top 5 biggest stars in the game. So for clarity, right, they have the star power on the team as well. By the way, the New York Liberty were also a WNBA flagship franchise. Okay? And so they were trying to get them a championship so bad that they cheated those poor players from they stole the game, Eric. They stole the game. And I know you're in New York, I get it. But they stole the game. Eric, when you get that far in the playoffs, the referees should not be adversely dictating the outcome of games. That's the key. First of all, it was a travel before you got to the foul, and it wasn't a foul.
It's funny.
You got a foul and a foul, and you wanted the team to win. But it's what it is, Eric.
Frank,
and by the way,
hold on. It's funny when 1 minute you say the referees, shouldn't determine the outcome of a game. We had the discussion before when the Kansas City Chiefs, right? Kansas City Chiefs had a game where the referees determined the outcome of the game. So now here we are in the NBA Finals, and the referees had the opportunity to determine the outcome of a game. They made a call, and now that because the Liberty won, now you're saying, oh, the referees should not determine the outcome of a game. Come on, Frank. Come on.
This is unfortunate that you compare apples to oranges, not apples to apples, right? If the call was correct, then the referee at that point obviously controls the outcome of the game the right way. The calls were incorrect, right?
They still determine the outcome of the game. Whether incorrect or correct, they still determine the outcome of the game.
So the referees should not adversely affect the game with bad calls. They get paid big money to be refs.
Okay,
Eric,
now you're changing it. Now you're changing. Now you're saying.
I just said the refs should not affect the game in that way. The referee should make the right calls. The refs affect the game in an adverse way because they miss the travel and they call a bad foul. Period. Those are facts. If a referee calls a call that's right, Eric, that does impact the game. But obviously, right, it's the right play. Referees do have to make calls. They're supposed to make the right
Frank, but to the
calls.
to the public eye and the fans, whether right or wrong, fans might say that the referees impact the outcome of a game. You're saying, in this case, that the referees impacted the outcome of the game.
I'm very clear. I said adversely. Did you not hear
me?
Now
you're changing it now. Okay. All right.
I'm not changing. I said all along adversely. You're not just hearing what I'm saying.
All right, Frank. Okay, Frank.
If a referee makes the wrong call, listen, LeBron James tweeted the same thing. I mean, you're arguing. LeBron James tweeted the same thing, right? Who is Mr. Basketball. And he talked about the refs adversely impacting the game. LeBron James tweeted, I don't know what you're arguing. The refs here adversely affected the game. If you make the right call, then you make the right call. There are 2 wrong calls here at the end of the game. The game should be over. Brianna Stewart choked again, but now she's the hero. Anyway, let's move on. Unbelievable.
Shout out to the Liberty bringing that championship to New York. Shout out to the Liberty, baby.
And they don't deserve the ring. Anyway, and history is nothing. It should be a stain. You should put an asterisk next to this championship, right? It should be a referee's championship. It's unbelievable.
Here we go.
Let's talk about this now. Deshaun Watson, right? Boy, you're talking about a guy that's beleaguered, right? Oh man, what the Houston Texans was elite, right? It was him and Patrick Mahomes at one point. That was a conversation, okay? Then all of a sudden, Eric, he got 25 cases, right? The massage cases thrown on him, whatever the case may be. 25 cases, accusations, etc. He settled a lot of them. The Browns, obviously, then Eric signed him to a $230 million all-guaranteed contract. He's gone to Cleveland. Has been terrible. Obviously, those cases, those accusations and those situations and those settlements have clearly adversely impacted him. And yesterday, and he's had a horrible year this year. He's played terrible. The Browns are terrible. And the eliminated yesterday in him tearing his Achilles tendon. And as he's on the floor hurt and being carted off the field, the Cleveland Browns fans booed him. They booed him, Eric. And so a lot of players one of his teammates, Jameson Winston, came out and was very emotional about it was unfair and it was wrong for the fans to do that. Eric, what do you think? Fair or foul? The fans booing Deshaun Watson, the home fans, after getting the Achilles injury.
I think. Listen,
Carted
anytime a player gets an injury, it's unfortunate. You never want to boo a player when they get hurt. You know what I mean? It's unfortunate he got hurt. It's Achilles, career threatening injury. You know what I'm saying? So you never want to boo. You never want to boo a player while he's hurt, while he's going through them circumstances. So that's foul to me because again, these are human beings. They got families. They got kids and stuff like that. And to boo him, in a moment where he's at his most vulnerable state, he's hurt. I mean, that's foul for Cleveland Browns. They should do better. They should do better by that.
So I'll tell you this, Eric, right? Comparable to when the Eagles fans booed Michael Irvin when he was laid out flat and, Cowboys-Eagles rivalry, big time, right? Michael Irvin got hit, laid out flat. You didn't know what the level of the extent of the injury was. And people took issue with those fans. So, Eric, I feel conflicted about this issue a bit because you definitely don't want to, first of all, fans pay their money, they boo, they do what they do, right? I feel like it's in bad taste. I agree. But the problem is they're conflating issues here. And the conflating issues are multiple, right? First, there's obviously the allegations, the settlement, etc., right? And his actions against women that people have clearly spoken out against repeatedly. So that's a part of the issue. Second part of the issue is he gets a $230 million guaranteed contract, right? And he plays terrible. So I don't know that it's just booing a guy that's injured. I don't know if it's just booing a guy that's not playing well. I think everything is a part of it. So I think part of the fans booing is they're booing the organization for signing a guy, right? Such a controversial guy with the history of what had just happened to him, right? With all of the allegations and settlements, etc., right? Against women. That's one. Then he got the guaranteed contract and he's failed in terms of success, team success, etc. Okay? And now he's hurt. So I think, you conflate the issues. It's not just about the injury; it's about all of it, Eric.
Yeah, but I think the timing is off on that. If you want to boo somebody, you can boo him while he's still, playing and stuff like that. And unfortunately, he got hurt. You know what I mean? It has a very distasteful, leaves a very distasteful taste, to the Cleveland Browns fans for doing something like that. So it's foul to me. It's foul to me. There's a time and place to do certain things, and I just think at that moment you don't boo a player, at that moment. So for me,
but do you think they're booing him? But do you think? But let me ask you a question. What about the concept that they're booing him for all of it? Does that make it more acceptable for you? They're not just booing him because the man got hurt, right? Or even just because his play on the field, because of the off the field issues. Because the off the field issues are so substantial.
Listen,
right?
It could be a combination of all those things. It could be a combination of all those things. His on the play field, his freakiness and all that stuff. It could be a combination of all that. The Cleveland Browns paying him all that money. All of that could be a combination of the fans born. I just think it's a time and place. At that moment he was hurt. I don't think that was the right moment. Now, whether the combination of everything, maybe combination of all the things that has transpired in his career, maybe the fans were frustrated with everything that transpired. So but for me, I just think at that moment it's not the right time to boo somebody. But I mean, I can understand why people would be like, let's boo him.
I think it's a frustration altogether. I get it. So,
and then listen, Deshaun Watson, man, what a fall from grace, man. This guy was considered one of the top QBs at one point of his career. And it's like you're at the mountaintop one moment, and it's like, damn, where you know what I mean? Like his performance has just dropped from the allegations to all the stuff that's going on in his life. Man, what a fall from grace, man. This is it's sad and it's unfortunate for a young man. You know what I mean? But life goes on, and
Say this, Eric. I have conspiracy theory in me sometimes. It's interesting how a lot of this stemmed from when he told the Texans, right, who I feel like has been in the past, could be construed, not necessarily, but could be construed as a racist organization. When McNair, the owner, was running an organization, he made statements like you can't have the inmates running the asylum when it came to Dak Prescott. And all of a sudden now you have this young black man who tries to force their hands and he wants to push his way out of Texas. And all of a sudden he gets 23 cases on it. Interesting. I don't know that it happened or didn't happen. Let me not be a conspiracy theorist, but his fall has been precipitous, as you said, and it's pretty unfortunate and sad the way this thing has transpired. And by the way, for all the victims, if they are victims or what have you, you know what I mean? Your heart goes out to them as well. Like, let's not exonerate him from that if those transgressions happen, right? The way these victims, right, these alleged victims said that they happened.
Yeah.
It's all a very unfortunate situation.
Precipitous. Great word, Frank. Precipitous. Great word.
Well, you know my vocabulary is at the highest level. You know how that.
Precipitous.
So, yeah, highest level. E, listen. So now we got to talk about this, E, because me and you talked about this. I got to gloat a little bit. You said that the Pittsburgh Steelers should not have put Russell Wilson in for Justin Fields.
Yes.
I thought it was the right move, and I thought it was the right move personally, but also said the great Mike Tomlin, right, who is, in my opinion, him and Andy Reid are the best two coaches in football. I trusted their judgment. They know they're in practices. They know what's going on. They're in all the meetings. They're watching the films, etc. Eric, Russell Wilson looked like a quarterback that was way ahead of where Fields is, right? So what you got to say about that? And by the way, and on the flip side of it, Eric, the Jets look terrible.
Which he should be way ahead of Justin Fields, a quarterback that's played in the big game, a quarterback that has experience. He should be way ahead of Justin Fields. Justin Fields still a pup.
So why do you want Fields to keep the job then? So why'd you want Fields to keep the job if he should be? He is ahead of him.
Because I felt it would change. It would change the chemistry within the team. They played 6 games and they were 4-2. Why not? I said stick with a guy that's been riding you, and you have a winning record.
He's not playing well. The defense feels like that you only winning because of us, right? I mean, this is a team, Eric, that has Super Bowl potential. You ain't winning a Super Bowl with Justin Fields. You can win a Super Bowl, and you saw last night. And by the way, everybody keeps talking about against a decent Jets defense. By the way,
yeah,
Russell Wilson showed and I think Sean Payton did him terrible with Denver. Well, I never respect Sean Payton after that. And I'm not a Russell Wilson fan, but he's way ahead of Fields. So I think that switch is going to be the thing that we look at as the Pittsburgh Steelers now. And look, the Pittsburgh Steelers have to be in the conversation. When you look at the best teams in the AFC, Eric, you got Patrick Mahomes, who the guy is pulling rabbits out of his hat, right? Like, it's unbelievable how they're still undefeated. And he's playing like a mediocre, making the plays when he needs to make them, right? Man, kudos to culture. That's a culture team, right? When you got Andy Reid, Spagnuolo as your defensive coordinator, and the great Patrick Mahomes, culture, boom, right? But anyway, you got the Ravens.
Yes.
Right? The Ravens in the AFC. Fantastic team. And then after that, Eric, is it the Steelers? Probably. You got to put, at 5-2, the Steelers are in the conversation.
Yeah.
And what Russell Wilson showed you, they should be in the conversation as one of the best teams, in the AFC.
Yeah, the AFC is not, what we thought it out to be in the beginning of the season when you had some really good teams. Teams have faltered, We've seen the Bengals not starting off slow. They're still trying to get the act together. The Buffalo Bills, we're still trying to see how they turn out.
The Jets, the flip side is the Jets, Eric. The flip side, by the way, the flip side of the Russell Wilson argument is the Jets and Aaron Rodgers. They gave him everything, right? They gave him all the players he wanted. They brought Alan Lazard in. That was his guy. They brought Randall Codman. That was his guy. They brought Nathaniel Hackett, who was the offensive coordinator. That was his guy. They got rid of Robert Saleh. Clearly, him and Saleh didn't mix. You saw that on the sidelines, right? Where they had the little small dust up. Okay. They get rid of Salah, right, Eric? Then they bring in this guy. Now they say bring in Devontae Adams. That's the ultimate his guy. They bring in Devontae Adams, Eric. And the owner says, "Oh, we're going all in. This is the best team that we've had. We're gonna do it." Eric, they looked lackluster yesterday. And by the way, the guy, Eric, I'm be honest with you, right? Aaron Rodgers is not the same player, not close to the same player. The Jets are done. He should retire. But now this is the issue, Eric. You brought all of his guys in, right? He's terrible. He's very mediocre to terrible this year. Now, let me ask you a question, right? He retires after this year because it looks like he needs to retire, right, Eric?
Yeah.
And now you're stuck with all of his guys, potentially some of them, and you got who's going to be the quarterback for the Jets?
Well, they got to go out. You got to go out and draft, a quarterback, or maybe trade for a quarterback. I mean, there's plenty of quarterbacks out there that can fill in a role and contribute to the Jets' offense and stuff like that. So they're gonna have to go either do the draft, which I'm pretty sure they'll draft a quarterback, and maybe possible trade. So
I'm gonna tell you the player. If I'm the Jets, I'm targeting Eric. You ready?
Who you targeting?
Oh shoot, his name is eluding me right now. What's the quarterback? That's crazy. His name is eluding me. The quarterback from Minnesota right now. They went to USC.
Oh, what's his name?
Sam Darnold.
What's his name?
Sam Darnold.
Sam Darnold.
Why is his name? Because let me tell you why. J.J. McCarthy comes back, right?
Mm-hmm.
When J.J. McCarthy comes back, the Vikings have invested a lot of money in a very high first-round pick on J.J. McCarthy. And by the way, I don't know, right? I mean, do you trade McCarthy? Because Sam Darnold's still relatively young. So what do you do if you are Minnesota, right? Do you trade McCarthy? Because if you sign Sam Darnold to a big deal, Eric, okay, you can't have him signed to a big deal and McCarthy on a big rookie contract, right? You can't have both of those guys. So one of them got to go. So do you trade McCarthy or do you trade Sam Darnold?
You pay Sam Darnold. You pay him, and then you gotta have some some back. You gotta have a backup. You gotta have a backup quarterback in the NFL. So,
Eric, but you can't pay the backup the amount of money that the number whatever pick in the draft he was is getting. Right, your backup quarterback can't be getting paid that much. I mean, he's getting paid starters money, McCarthy. So you can't have a backup quarterback getting paid that kind of money.
Yeah, but I'm saying is you give the money to Sam. You give the money to Sam Darnold. Give him the money. He deserves it. Let me ask you this question: are you a believer in the Minnesota? Are you a believer in the Minnesota Vikings?
I'm not. And they got off to a great start, Eric. But they always get off to a great start.
Okay, I'm just
right. This is one of their Stefanski always does this. They get up to not Stefanski. That's not the coach.
I'm not a believer either. I'm not a believer.
Yeah, but I'm not a believer. They good team. What I do think, Eric, and we spoke about this. You brought this up. So I think they're a good team. I think they'll be in the playoff hunt. But I think the class of the NFC is the Detroit Lions, right? That's the class of the NFC to me. The way they believe, the way they're playing, they beat Minnesota yesterday. And by the way, this is let me point out a conversation that we had to, and I keep forgetting everybody's name, but the coach for the defensive coordinator for the Minnesota Vikings, Brian, what's his last name, Eric?
Brian from the Minnesota Vikings.
Yeah, he was he used to be the head coach of the Miami Dolphins.
Remember Brian Flores.
Brian Flores, right? So Brian Flores, Eric, he is arguably right. Him, Spagnuolo, right, is doing an amazing job as the defensive coordinator for the Kansas City Chiefs. But you can argue Flores is probably having as good a season as anybody is as a coordinator. Okay, was a 24-25 head coach with the Dolphins, and he should be in line, Eric, for a head coaching job. But remember, he sued the NFL, right, for racial discrimination. We talked about this, Eric. Is he a candidate for a job?
Nope.
As a head coach?
Nope.
Brian Flores?
Nope.
No. Said the white establishment is not going to let him in.
Nope.
Is that what you said?
They're not going to let him in, Frank. They're not going to let him in.
Right now, the way he has the Minnesota Vikings playing on the defensive side of the football, Brian Flores, is fantastic.
Frank,
Right?
Frank,
Top 5 type of defense in the NFL. Top 3 good.
Frank, they're not gonna let him in. There's certain things that you could do, and they might let you get a second chance. Sue in the NFL, that shield, and then making racial, discrimination claims. They're not gonna let him in. Frank.
Yeah.
They're not.
So Mike Tomlin gave him a job right afterwards because nobody wanted to touch him. Obviously,
it's unfortunate. Great, good coach, but unfortunately, he won't get a head coaching job no time.
Which is ironic, right? Because then it becomes like this situation where you want more diversity in it, right? This guy, he positioned himself as well as you can to get another head coaching job, going to be a coordinator again, dominating at the coordinator level, and was one game below 500 as a head coach before. So they always recycle head coaches, and he had a decent run as a head coach. But now he's more experienced, older, etc., and he's a minority, and they're quote unquote diversified. Right?
Yeah. Well, listen. The next black head coach, next black hiring should be the guy from the Detroit Lions, Aaron Glenn, I think his name is.
Glenn is good. But the problem is, Eric. But Ben Johnson is really the guy everybody loves, right? The offensive coordinator. But you're right. Glenn is very good too. Glenn might get a job, but Ben Johnson is the offensive coordinator for the Detroit Lions. Is who everybody loves.
Hey.
Right. The offensive coordinator. But we'll see how it all goes. You know what I'm saying? E?
We'll see.
We'll see how it all goes. Huh?
We'll see. I mean, I think the next black hire should be Glenn, but we'll see.
Yo, E, I gotta bring this up, Eric, right? And I'm not bringing this up from a bragging perspective. Let me be clear. E, I coach my son's a little young basketball team, Eric. Yeah. 9 and under team. I gotta bring this up on the show, Eric. We are 9 and under team. All of our kids are 8 and 9, right? Some kids 9, but the majority of our kids are 8 and 9-year-olds, all in the 3rd grade. Okay, we have an AAU game against a team, Eric. The kids walk out on the court. Now, again, my son is 8, Eric, right? Very, 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 very good, high level 3rd grade player, right? Objectively speaking. I have another son that's 5'10", okay? They had a kid that walked out on the court, Eric, before the game started. That was at least 5'8", okay? 5'8". Yo, I yelled to the other coach on the other end. I thought this was so. Hold on. They were supposed to be a 10 and under team, so we were playing upper age group because we kill everybody at our age group. So we were playing a 10 and under team, Aaron. That's what we thought. So that means we'd be playing a 4th grade team, right? We're 3rd grade team, okay? Yo, they got a kid there that's tall as my 15-year-old almost, Eric, right? We walk out on the court. I said to the other coach, I thought this was 10 and under. Eric, not only did they have that one kid that was that tall, they had 2 other kids that were tall. Right? That were a little shorter than him. Now, Eric, let me say this to you, right? And then one of our parents is a coach. He coaches high school basketball in Southern California. And so he knew the coach from the other team. Okay? So afterwards, they were talking, hanging out, boom, boom, boom. To our parents' chat group. Just for perspective, so you guys all know, right? The 3 big kids that played on that team were in the 6th and 7th grade. It was 6th and 7th graders. Right, Eric? 6th and 7th graders, and my team's a 3rd grade team. And by the way, Eric, just, not to brag here, but we beat them. Okay? We beat them, right? And listen, and the big kids, and they weren't bums either. But we put that pressure on them, and my boys came to play. But anyway, I don't want to talk about that, I want to talk about how ashamed I am for that coach and for AAU basketball. And what are we doing, Eric? Why would you bring a kid in the 7th grade to play against 3rd graders? What do you try? Like, what does that do for your organization, for the kid, as the kid's parent? Like, what are we doing, Eric? Right at the AAU basketball level, at the travel basketball, Eric, 7th graders to play against 3rd graders?
Frank, listen, I understand your frustration and your pain, man. But listen, when it comes to this AAU basketball stuff, I mean, we've seen some weird stuff, and we've seen stuff like this. I mean, I've heard of kids, playing, 3 age groups lower than their age, stuff like that, or their grade. So it doesn't surprise me that they have coaches out there that are doing stuff like that. But again, is what are we teaching the kids, and what is the
That's what I'm saying.
and what is the parent? What do the parents and the coach have to say about all this? Like when you take winning basketball over morals and what's right and what's what are we teaching the kids? Like, so it's okay to cheat or whatever. I don't say cheating. I would just say it's okay for you to have.
Eric, you say you're a 10U team, right? And you got 13-year-olds on the team.
Yeah.
Eric, my kids are 8, Eric. 8 and 9, bro. Are you, Eric?
Unless they're gonna reclassify them and put them back in the 4th grade, I guess. I don't know. I don't know.
But let me just say this. It's crazy. And now I didn't play basketball, been around basketball my entire life, Eric. But I just couldn't believe this. And I had to bring this up. And I know it's a little bit personal, obviously, but I'm not even looking at it from a personal perspective. I was just shocked, Eric. And when I found, and I said to everybody, it's no way these kids are 10 years old and they're 4th grader. And I said that to everybody. It's no way that this is the case, Eric. And then later I found out that they're 6th and 7th graders. Shout out to my team, young ballers. We went out there and we did our thing. We won the game. And hey, let me ask you a question. If you're a parent, if you're the parent of that 7th grader and those 6th graders, right? Those 3 kids that are, what do you say to the coach and to the organization, right, about the development of your child? So I put my child in your hands as a coach in the organization, and you put him in a game against 8-year-olds?
Yeah, and also too, right? We're talking about
and lose, by the way.
And we also talking about, right, a huge disparity in strength, and these kids are 13 years old, right? You can actually hurt one of your players that are 8 years old. So you have to look at it from that point of view too, right? These kids are bigger and stronger than these 8-year-old kids. Kids could get hurt. I mean, again, nothing surprised me when it comes to AAU basketball. So I'm not in shocked of this. I mean, we you played. We've seen how this AAU basketball has, become now, right? And so
how it's devolved, not evolved. It's devolved.
Yeah. So I mean, it's not surprising. I mean, listen, you should let Hudson reclassify to the 1st grade.
I can imagine if I took my kid and put him in the 1st grade. Like that. I mean, that would be the equivalent, right? It's like unbelievable. No, I would have to put him in kindergarten, right? Because those kids are 4 grades ahead. Some of them.
Yeah, put him in kindergarten.
Put in 3rd grade.
Yeah, reclassify to kindergarten.
Hey, what a joke!
Yeah,
hey, listen.
It's a shame. It's a shame that a game that we both love has become this. You know what I mean? It's sad that we have to see this. This sport at the grassroots level become this. You know what I mean? And now it's even more money involved. More people involved in this sport. You know what I mean? And it's like everybody's chasing the money. So
yeah, it's crazy. Hey, so on the heels of the NBA season about to kick off, I believe in 2 days, right?
Yes.
And we're gonna talk more about that. I want your predictions. Let's talk about that. But before we leave today, okay, I want your prediction. MVP of the NBA season this year.
MVP?
Yeah.
Damn, MVP. I'm gonna go. Tough one. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go Giannis. I'm gonna go Giannis on this one. I'm going Giannis. I think Giannis is gonna come out with vengeance. I think he's gonna come out with something to prove again. Disappointing year last year. I think he's gonna come out and prove to the world that he is the most dominant player in the NBA. So I think I'm gonna go with Giannis.
So I hate to, man. I just don't want to agree with you, bro. But I have to agree. I gotta agree. You know why? Giannis is coming back with a vengeance.
Yeah.
Okay. Giannis is coming back now, and this is the other thing, Eric. I also feel, though, I'm gonna be honest with you. I also feel that Jokic is not going to win it, no matter how well he plays. You know why, Eric? Because he got 3 MVPs already. Okay, and it doesn't feel like he's a 3 MVP kind of guy, as great as he is. Right? He's already touching every status with all these MVPs. So unless he's so much ahead of everybody else, I think that he may play better than anybody else this year, but I don't think they're going to give him a 4th MVP. I'm going to tell you the only other guy I'm going to put in the conversation, right, which is not a big revelation. It's not a surprise, Okay, and is this the year? So, and I love the pick. This is the only negative about Giannis. He's playing with Dame Lillard, so will he get enough touches and will his stats be big enough to do it? Because he's playing with another guy that's going to be high usage, that's going to take a lot of reps, and it's going to score a lot as well. So that's my only challenge with him. And Luka Doncic won't have that issue because Kyrie Irving clearly defers to him, right? So is this the year that Luka finally gets over the hump and becomes the MVP? And also, Luka's teams haven't won enough in the past. But it looks like they have a better team. They're well balanced. They had a good year last year, right? But is this the year that Luka, okay, becomes the MVP? That's the only thing because of Dame Lillard taking away some of the reps and opportunities for Giannis.
I like Luka, but I mean Luka. We saw last year. He got exposed last year in the playoffs. Horrible on the defensive side of the ball. Horrible.
But don't say that because you don't care about guys that play defense. You know that.
It's horrible.
So you don't care about guys that play defense.
Horrible, Frank. It was horrible, and he got exposed last year. Last year. So, I mean, that's the only thing that's probably holding him back, from becoming a very, he's already an elite player, but taking that next jump and becoming, the ultimate player on both sides of the court. I mean, that's what that's. His defensive was horrible.
Well, hold on. Let me just say this: you can't say both sides of the court. I mean, Jokic is not a good defensive player, so I don't think I don't think
Jokic is decent though. He ain't horrible.
He's below average.
He ain't bad, Frank. He's not bad. Luka is horrible.
Wait, hold on. He's below average for an NBA center. The point is, you can be an MVP and not be a good defensive player.
That's true.
So Luka Doncic doesn't have to become a good defensive player to take the next step. That's not true.
I mean,
you're right. He's atrocious, but no one cares about that.
Yeah, I mean, in today's NBA, right, nobody cares about defense.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. For me, I always tell you it's hard for me to break these guys as great players who don't play defense. But anyway, all right, Evo, listen. We're at the time of the show where we always give you that opportunity, bro. Shout out to brothers and sisters out there doing great things, man. Go do your thing.
Yeah, so I'm gonna shout out since the WNBA just ended last night. I'm gonna go with Esmeri Martinez. She was selected 17th pick last year's draft to the New York Liberty. I know she wasn't on the roster. I checked the roster. She wasn't on the roster, but she was drafted by the New York Liberty. I want to shout her out. The first Dominican WNBA women's basketball player to achieve that height. So I want to shout out Esmeri Martinez de lo mío.
But I just got to care. But you're not shouting out because of Liberty won because she's not on the roster. You're just shouting out in general.
Yeah, I'm shouting out her achievement and being the 17th pick in the WNBA draft. Maybe she might be hurt. I got to do some research on that. But she's not on the roster. She was on the roster in the beginning of the season, but obviously something must have happened.
Minus when she's on the roster, not like you said, that's a great accomplishment to be the first woman drafted into the WNBA. So shout out to her for sure.
Yes. So shout out to Esmeri de lo mío. She's de lo mío, Frank. She ain't A-Rod. She's de lo mío.
She ain't A-Rod, by the way. All right, well, listen, man. It's always real, man. Great to have you on the show. Everybody keep liking, subscribing, keep showing love. We're going to keep building and growing. Roll with it and get ran over. We out.